Gear. All that important stuff that lives in our camera bags, gets talked about all the time. We got new stuff coming out almost weekly. And I wanted to share what's in my bag and what I use to make the videos and take the photos that I do. One of the best things that I love about photography and videography is the gear that comes along with it. There's honestly so much to choose from, and it can be pretty overwhelming at times because you don't know what to buy. There's always new stuff coming out, and I just thought I'd share the gear that's in my bag, the gear that I take with me when I'm taking the photos and creating the videos that I do. Now my kit's not that big, it's continuously growing though as I grow as a photographer and a videographer. And don't expect, if you're new to this, to have all this expensive gear, because it does cost a lot of money. And that's the reality of it. Like, you can't just go out and buy it all in one go. I'm sure that's some common sense right there. You'd be mad to think you could go out and just drop $15,000 or $20,000 on all this camera gear in one hit. I wish I could do that. But anyway, this is what I'm using currently, and if you like my photos, then maybe you might want to get some of this gear, but at the same time you should also do some research and find out what gear would be best suited to you. First up, let's talk about the camera. I would show you it, but I need it to film this. It's my best camera that I have. This is it though. It's the Canon 6D Mark II. It's a great little camera. I do love it, I can't fault it. A lot of people don't like the dynamic range that it has, and it hasn't really actually bothered me too much. People complained about it a lot when it came out. They really hated on it, with not having the 4K and a few other different features that maybe this camera should have come out with, but none of that has bothered me so far. I've absolutely beaten the hell out of it for the last couple of years, and I'm going to continue to smash it and beat it up until it dies on me. I think something that I've learned in my photography and videography sort of journey so far is that lenses are a hell of a lot more important than the camera body that you have. It's hard to believe. I didn't believe it for so long, but I think that's very true. I think a lot of photographers would also agree with that. Camera bodies are always updating, they're always changing, especially in today's day and age. And the good thing about lenses is they hold their value really well. If you invest in some really nice glass, it can last you almost a lifetime if you treat it with respect. So I've invested a good amount of money into some of my lenses, and I'll admit that I'm probably not really a zoom lens kind of guy. However, I don't really have zoom lenses. I'm more of a prime lens kind of dude myself. One of my favorites I have here is the 24mm. Doesn't even want to focus. How rough's that? There we go. It's the Sigma Art 24mm f1.4. It's a beautiful lens. I love it so much. It's nice and wide, but you can also get that nice depth of field, that nice bokeh with it as well. My second prime that I have, this is an absolute monster of a lens. I wish I could tell you how heavy it is. It feels like 10 kilos. It's the Sigma Art 85 1.4. The thing about Sigma, they're not the true Canon or Nikon or Sony brand. They're sort of their own, sort of almost budget brand. But Sigma lenses are so crisp, they are so nice, and a lot of the time they're half the price of what you pay if you're getting like a Canon, a Nikon or a Sony lens. So that's why I've gone with them. Their primes are super nice. I honestly can't find anything bad to say about them. My third and final lens that I have is the one that I'm using to film this video right now. I'm not going to take it off and change it, that's too much effort. But it's the Canon 17 to 40mm f4, which just means it's a constant f4. Doesn't let as much light in as my other lenses, but it is wider. It's a little bit more versatile than those other ones, so I seem to find myself using it a lot. It's especially great for vlogging and really wide landscapes whenever I hit the waterfalls or I'm out trekking. It's also super light, so it's not heavy when you're carrying your camera around all day. Beast of a lens. I've smashed this one actually and it's still going strong, so can't fault the Canon L series. I'm sure every single one of you watching this video loves drones. You love the perspective you can get with a drone. It's just fun to fly them around. I've had a couple myself. I started out with DJI Phantom 4. Yeah, that big white bulky thing. Super good drone, super good quality, but I mean I put it in a tree and crashed it, so I've now sort of upgraded but downgraded at the same time because it's not as good quality, but it's way smaller. It actually fits into my camera bag. It's the DJI Mavic Air. I do have a couple of things that I am a bit picky with this drone. It's definitely not as good a quality camera as the DJI, as the Phantom, the big white one, but the camera and the sensor is so much smaller than that drone, so I can't really complain with that. I just wish sometimes I look at the photos, I'm like, oh man, they do look a little bit dodgy once you start blowing them up a little bit. Another little thing just to keep in mind, this drone only has a Wi-Fi connection, which sucks a lot because I tend to lose connection. I'll be flying around and all of a sudden the screen's gone black and I'm like, where's my drone? Is it going to come back? If you're flying it over the ocean, it kind of just makes you scared. I get very scared, almost poop my pants sometimes, but I haven't lost it just yet, so fingers crossed I don't lose it anytime soon. Other than that though, it's such a great drone. It fits into my camera bag with like 2 spare batteries and the remote controller. It's so compact, can't complain. Oh, you're in my video. Ah!
Did I ruin it?
Yeah, the whole thing's ruined now.
Actually?
Yeah, I have to record 7 minutes again.
Can't you cut it?
Yeah. Another little handy camera that I keep in my bag almost always is a GoPro. We've all heard about GoPros, you all know how cool they are. Sometimes the look of them isn't that great. They've got tiny little sensors in them, they're not always the best quality, but it's good to have one. I have found so many awesome uses for it that I wouldn't be able to take this big camera with. GoPros are good. Okay, goodbye. Interruptions, it's kind of like ads on a YouTube video, except it's like real life. Have you ever wondered how people get those like super smooth buttery shots, those really nice travel videos you watch on YouTube, and you're like, man, how come my shots don't look like this? Because you're walking with your camera and your hands are shaking up and down. That looked really bad, oh my god. They use one of these things. This is a Zhiyun Crane 2. It's an electronic stabilizer. Man, there's so many stabilizers out there these days. It doesn't matter which one you pick, they're all gonna be good. I chose the Zhiyun Crane 2 simply because after doing the research I'd done, it just seemed like it was the most fitting for what I needed at the time. Keep in mind though, like I was honestly fooled by this. You can't just throw your camera on and expect for your shots to be amazing. They will be a hell of a lot better, but it does take a lot of practice to master using one of these cranes, one of these stabilizers. Anyway guys, that is a look at my camera gear. Oh, this is so bright this way. We might need some sunglasses for this one. I hope, oh that's so bad, let's get in the shade somewhere. I hope that was a good insight into the gear that I have in my camera bag. If you want to pick some of that stuff up, do so, but don't just buy it because I have it. Best thing I've learned over the time, because I've done this myself, I've bought cameras that I've seen YouTubers using, and then it just lacks so many features that you end up needing yourself. So make sure, it doesn't matter whether it's Canon or Sony or Nikon or Olympus or Fujifilm, do your research, sit down, make a list of what you think you need, what would be beneficial to you, and then go out and buy that gear. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is really just for me to look back on in a year and see how my bag, how my kit has changed over time. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll catch you in another video very soon. Don't forget, if you want to go big, dream big.